Hey guys, and welcome back to Divine Journey 2. So, last episode was a live stream. Thank you very much if you tuned in. If you didn't make it though, we're going to go over quickly what has changed. To start us off, we upgraded our Botania area, and we significantly increased our runic altar capabilities, taking us from 3 runic altars to 9 runic altars. And we also upgraded the mana spreaders to Gaia, with 2 per runic altar, with room for a third as well. These also have the velocity and potency lenses on each one, and we also put some upgrades in the mechanical users, so that they would click items faster onto the runic altar. So if we test this just by ordering, 20 rune of autumns, yeah, why not? Let's do this. You're going to see the speed of these things. It's very loud, but that is glorious. Anyways, we also cleaned up our astral sorcery area here, and done a little bit of terraforming around the outside, and just generally cleaned things up on the inside here. I think it's looking a lot better. And we moved our abyssal craft rituals, which used to sit in this space, actually taking up way too much space here, which we're going to repurpose pretty soon. And we moved it down here next to the runic altar. Check out these elevators. Those things are pretty cool. But yeah, we just tucked it away underneath. We will need this in the future, but it's out of the way here, and it's still here for when we need it. And you may remember last episode we were working on the laser focus multi-block. Well, here it is in all its glory. This thing is awesome, and I totally built this right the first time. Anyways, this multi-block is capable of giving us a few different things actually that we'll need in the upcoming chapters. And we also hooked this up to Applied Energistics to be able to request recipes through this thing. And the first thing we made with our laser multi-block was the Superium Infusion Crystal, which gave us access to Supremium, and therefore gives us access to the Tier 5 seeds. The one and only Tier 5 seeds we have at the moment is Terrasteel. However, we will eventually craft all of these seeds. There's some really nice things in here, including Star Metal and Aquamarine. We also get access to Thaumium and Alchemical Brass. Lots and lots of good stuff in there. So yeah, on to what we're doing today. So our goal for today is to start chapter 25. The laser multi-block completed out chapter 24. So to start 25, the first thing we need is plasma cores and draconic cores, both of which we technically made on the live stream, we just didn't pick them up for the quest. So let's have a look at what we need for draconic cores, and this is something I kind of want to slow down for and fully automate this process, or at least as much as we can at the moment. So this starts with the plasma core, which goes through the laser focus, and this is from the empty core, which we have on passive. These empty cores are very easy to craft for us at this point. Okay, which leaves us with draconium ingots. We have lots and lots of this from various builders that we've had throughout the series. Galactic ingots, which we will be putting on passive once we have the star metal and aquamarine seeds. We'll come back to this one in a second though. We also made solar ingots, which we can't quite make automatically yet, as this takes several fluids and will require us to make more liquid crafters, which leaves mystic ingots and corrupted light ingots. Let's do the mystic ingots first. So mystic ingots have to be made in the infusion multi-block, and they're made with empowered underpowder, which we have a full drawer of, and it's also on passive via this machine, demon stone, and also Ichor. So to make our Ichor, we're first of all going to need another golden club, and to make this we have to throw emerald, demon blood, and skyfather ingots, and strike them with lightning, which I believe is the only way to do this. So let's set up a system that automatically drops these items, strikes them with lightning, and collects the output. So I think we're going to set it up over here. We do have this existing setup with another golden club in here, and we could technically share it. I think we're going to keep these systems separate. This is for creating bone meal, which can only be created in this lightning crusher, which has to have LE power from LightningCraft. Alright, so I think I've got this set up. This is actually the 6th or 7th iteration of this. This took me a little while longer than I would have expected, and it's not quite as simple as it first may seem. Basically, the issue is that we have to make sure that this mechanical user only activates the golden club when there is entities in this block space, and we only want the precision dropper to drop exactly the 3 items that we need for the Ichor, as if you drop any more than that and strike it with lightning, it will just burn up, and if you obviously strike any less, it will also burn up. And we also have to allow time for the lightning club or the golden club here to be recharged. So every time this user right clicks the golden club and summons lightning, it does take a durability off it. So therefore we have an item conduit set to the damaged items, which puts it inside the item repairer. Once it's full durability, it will return to the mechanical user, where this redstone writer is set to if the entities detected in this block space is equal to 3, i.e. we have the emerald, the demon blood, and the skyfather ingot in this block space, then it will create lightning. That will turn it into Ichor and be picked up by the ranged collector and put back in the interface. And the second redstone writer here is also set to if the entities equal 3. It will disable this timer, as this is set to pause while receiving a redstone signal, and the dropper is on pulse mode, so the dropper only works with redstone, and this timer only works without redstone. So I hope that explanation kinda made sense. We can see it in action here actually. So it drops exactly 3 items, summons the lightning, turns it into Ichor. Yeah, there is that little pause there, which is why we have to add this turn off for the precision dropper. But yeah, all gets sent from the ranged collector back into the interface, and then we have a storage drawer with a storage bus on there to store the outputs. So yeah, we got there in the end. many tries to get that to work, but we got there. So yeah, I guess back to this mystic ingot recipe, and this also requires demon stone, which is the only other part we don't have for this. And to make demon stone, we can either deal with this horrible recipe for infusion crafting, which takes demonic elixirs, and this is a lot of distillery work here. Or we could actually just raid the underworld here, the LightningCraft dimension, which does actually contain these guard towers that naturally spawn, and these things are full of demon stone bricks. And also skeletal guards. However, the demon stone bricks we can actually chisel into regular demon stone, which is what we use in the mystic ingot recipe. So we're just going to set up a builder quarry here, ask it to mine out 1,000 chunks, and we can basically just forget about this thing. We just have to deal with the chiseled outputs on the other side. So this is a orange double purple ender chest. So to handle the chiseling step here, obviously we don't want to stand with our chisel every time we get demon stone. So I've set up this auto chisel here, and also a mechanical crafter to passive chisels. And the crafter takes the iron ingots and the sticks from the interface. And we have a limited item filler on the bottom side of this. Whoops. So this is set to insert and extract on brown channel, which also goes into the auto chisel, and this is a smart input, so the chisel will end up in this middle slot. This just means that we don't have to deal with repairing or anything. And then we have the ender chest hooked up underneath here. So anytime we get any bricks, it goes straight into the interface, where we also request it from our system. So if we ever happen to have any demon stone bricks, those will all be sent into the chisel, chiseled into regular demon stone, and then stored in this frame drawer above. So yeah, it might take a little while for this stuff to build up with the demon stone, since the structures in there are not super common. But for every piece of demon stone, we actually get 8 mystic ingots. So yeah, we don't need a ton of this stuff. At least now though, it is fully automatic and we don't really have to worry about this. We do however have to stick a storage bus on this drawer. So I guess that is 3 of the items down. We're going to come back to these solars as I mentioned. So that just leaves these corrupted light ingots, which is Mirian, Star Leather and Dark Cores. All of which are actually requestable by now. We may have to buff our Starlight Infusion, as our Starlight Infuser here does rely on liquid starlight, which we are still manually filling up there with rock crystals. But for now we can just add a recipe and use what backlog we have, which should mean that for the most part we do have Draconic Cores automated. We can at least get 4 more of these for the quest. Oh, and a trophy. Nice, welcome to late game. Alright, so I've been doing a little bit of crafting here. I managed to get the last of the tier 4 seeds that we need, including electrical steel, conductive iron, pulsating iron, and manulin. All of which have been given their own crafters, so we now have the ingots for all of these materials. I also upgraded the infusion matrix just to make it a little bit faster and took it up to the Eldritch tier. In the last episode we also had a little setup here for purifying liquid, and instead of dropping the bath salts in world, I've switched out with the arcane spa, which just allows you to mix it within the block and then it will place the fluid in world above it, which is collected by the fluid collector and put in our ender tank there. And that is going to be used for our solar ingots. So yeah, the next quest I would like to look at here is this false advertising quest, which is the Wyvern energy core. And to make this we have to use our laser focus with our Draconic Cores, along with crystallized redstone clusters. So let's make up a few more crystallizers. We do already have a few of these actually scattered around the base, but I think we're going to add it next to these life crystal ones. So the crystallization of redstone is actually a very simple thing to add here. I just added blocks of redstone to the interface back there. These do also take blaze rods as a fuel, which have to be inserted into a side, inputs in the top and outputs out the bottom. Yeah, it goes into the drawer controller behind these drawers, where we can set the output in a compacting drawer here. And this will forever just fill up this drawer and give us passive crystallized redstone clusters. However, while we're adding to this system, I did also build 2 more of these things. The second one is actually going to be for blocks of mana steel, which of course we have seeds for, so this is effectively free for us. But what this will give us is crystallized mana shards, and these mana shards are used in Salis Mundus, which I believe is the last part we don't have on passive yet. Excuse me. Abyssal zombie. So yeah, we have everything else for Salis Mundus on passive. I did add between episodes the pixie dust, which comes from Elven Trade, so we are now producing this passively. And once we have our crystallized mana shards, this should always be full of Salis Mundus, which is something that we actually need to create our bath salts, and then our purifying liquid for solar ingots. So yeah, that is crystallized mana, also go into a compacting drawer. And the very last one here we're not going to set at the moment, however this will be for sodium. And sodium is produced via alchemical brass. However, we can't actually make the seed for alchemical brass now, as this is tier 5. It just takes a little bit of alchemical brass, which we already had on passive anyway, an elementium seed and some supremium. And to help with the supremium crafting, I added a crafter here which crafts all the different versions of essence. And then if we ever need any lesser tier than supremium, we just craft down. So it's like a shapeless crafting recipe to craft down from the essence. Whereas to upcraft this thing, we need the infusion crystal, which is a lot slower, which is why we just automatically craft up in the crafter, and that way it saves us making supremium essence on demand. So with that, we are able to craft our alchemical brass seeds. We can plant this in one of the brand new fields I've set up. I added extra fields here for 8 more seeds. Basically, these 4 on the left hand side and these 4 on the right are brand new additions to this field, as we were kind of running out of crop space here. I think we've got 2 more in this field, 2 more here at the top right hand corner there, but we have a lot more than 4 seeds to make, so alchemical brass gets its own drawer. And we can also give it its own crafter to craft us down the ingots. And also, since we added these extra interfaces on top, we'll have to do a similar thing we have over on that crafter wall and change the smart cable out with dense cable, and then replace the storage bus on the side. There, so that should give enough channels for all the interfaces on this line, plus the 3 storage buses we have. Make sure to hook this one back up. So now that we have free infinite alchemical brass, we can add it to the interface for the crystallizer, and filter it into the top side of the machine. However, I believe this actually gives us 2 different outputs here. Yeah, we get a crystallized copper byproduct here. I'm not sure if this is going to be useful for us. Yeah, I mean, there's no other use other than to turn it into copper nuggets or some alchemistry stuff, but I'm assuming we also get this from copper ingots. Yeah, so I think we're just going to throw this one away. We're actually interested in this sodium though, which has to be crafted into crystallized sodium, then into the sodium cluster, and then crystallized again into the sodium ingots. And this is stuff we use sparingly, but it's really slow to produce, so I wanted to make sure we have this on passive. So yeah, on the output of this crystallizer, we have a trash can set on high priority, filtered for the copper shards. The crystallized sodium shards can go into a compacting drawer, and this will automatically craft it into the clusters. And then we're just missing one more crystallizing step. Filter in the sodium clusters, and this time it will be inserted on purple, as purple is what we're extracting from the drawer network here from. This will also need a blaze rod as fuel. And the sodium outputs can have its own output drawer underneath here. So yeah, no more raiding the, the Skythern dimension? Or Mortem for sodium ingots. We have them on passive now, nice. So yeah, back on track here. We have our crystallized redstone cluster. All we need now is a recipe for the laser focus, and so long as we have the Draconic Cores, I'm hoping we have enough solar ingots to get us through this quest actually. We should be able to make our energy core. So this recipe goes inside our laser. And let's see, can we request this? We can, nice. This should be pretty quick as well. A couple of seconds, but that's fast enough I think for these things. Oh, I thought this was going to open up this Wyvern Weaver quest. Yeah, the reason I skipped over these 3 quests up the top here is to get to this Wyvern Weaver, as this is the gate for the tier 5 seed quests. I mean, we can technically make this, but the quest actually wants us to make these Wyvern Cores first, which is why I was holding off on making any more tier 5 seeds, but I guess we should kind of follow the quest line here. Yeah, let's start with our next tier of machine frame. This takes some heavy duty plates, some Draconic Cores, and just some Draconium. But there is our first Draconic machine frame. And the next prerequisite for Wyvern Weaver is the penultimate crafting table, which takes us up to 9x9 extreme crafting. We're going to have to make a few of these things, I think, but this lets us craft a lot of the creative items. I mean, obviously we're still a while off getting some of these things, but yeah, let's craft our first ultimate crafting table. So I put in a recipe for this thing, let's see if we're missing anything. Oh, we're actually not. Yeah, these things really aren't too bad to make. Yeah, it's just some 16k crafting storages. Some of these beam cores we made last episode, which is why I wanted to craft extra of these things. And just some black iron. Oh wait, I was wondering why those items were given to us so quickly. I forgot to add the elite crafting tables to this recipe. And yeah, these things take impetus jewels, which is great. Oh, and also crystallized mana, which we just put on passive, didn't we? Yeah, we did. We just added the shards here to the crystallization process. But I guess we'll be making a few more of these elite crafting tables, so let's add a recipe for this one. And fairly soon actually, we'll have access to Packaged Auto, which is a mod that lets you automate the extended crafting tables like this. So I amended the recipe for the ultimate crafting table. Now are we missing anything? We're not, but that's more like it. Oh yeah, that we will have to wait on quite a lot of crystallized mana here. Actually, more than quite a lot. We have to do 500 blocks of this mana steel. And yeah, this is the speed we get 1 at. So I'll be back in a little bit actually. Actually, instead of AFKing for the ultimate crafting table, we can look at the next quest here, which is to get the Draconic Evolution mob grinder. And with this, we're going to be farming withers for Nether Stars. We technically don't need to use the Draconic Evolution grinder, but since it is a prerequisite quest, we may as well craft and use that. But our Nether Star demand is going to increase quite a lot in the future here, as they are used in these Wyvern Cores, along with 4 Draconic Cores and some Draconium. So before we get seeds, it is definitely something that we'll want to automate in some way. So to make our mob grinder, it looks like this, which is a bit of a scary recipe to look at, to be honest. The offensive cores we have on passive. A Versio is just an infusion craft. Mob crushers we have on quest. This machine frame we just made as the previous quest. And these death cores are just some death protection poppets. Hold on, can we make... Yeah, we've made these before. And florbs of liquid death. And if I remember right, we did actually set up a semi-automated process for liquid death. Ah yeah, it's here in this fluid transposer. Also, as part of these death core crafts here, it's actually a little bit more complex than I remember. But we need 4 for the mob grinder, which takes all of these materials, most of which we actually have. However, I realised that we're actually missing some magical leather. And up until now, we had just been batch crafting it in this Thaumcraft Crucible. However, now that we have the alchemical brass seeds, we can actually free up this thaumatorium. Yeah, we no longer need to produce alchemical brass like this. And instead we can just change the filter here for industrial leather. We should be buffering around 2 stacks of this stuff. And we will change the level emitter here. Instead of alchemical brass, we can change it to magical leather. So when we're under 512, this level emitter will turn on, the extract on the conduit will turn on, and start to fill this with industrial leather. Oh wait a sec, we're 1 tier too low here. This has to be blood infused leather, which we do have on passive. I just mixed up the tiers, so let's instead switch this to blood infused. The level emitter will stay the same, except we have to change the ME interface to ask for blood instead. So now we can create our magical leather. And when I was adding these extra crucibles, I did also add tallow over here, which is used in a lot of the bewitchment things, and also bath salts, which I turned off because of Salis Mundus. But now that we just automated the mana shards, we should have everything else here automated, which means that we can actually keep this full. We're just going to keep it at 4 for the time being, I think. This may need increased, but yeah, we effectively have bath salts on passive as well. So I hope you can kind of see how all of this is coming together. I know that it's a lot of intertwined recipes and things, but I'm trying to explain things as clearly as I can. Let's see if we can get our death cores though for the mob grinder. We're just short some potions. Oh, and alchemical brass. Well, the potions we make over here, it's just a matter of increasing this drawer. And we have no alchemical brass here because I've apparently forgot the drawer controller on the back of this drawer network. There we go. Alright, so I increased some more buffers, and look at this for a craft for the this is just the death cores. Man, this is a complicated craft. But then apart from that, I think we've got all the rest of this stuff. Nope, apparently we are out of Draconic Cores, which means some more Solar Ingots, and this means manual crafting with this liquid crafter for now. Oh wait a sec, was that the wrong fluid? Oh, I think it was. I think it was the wrong fluid. There we go. First is to make some more of our empowered solar dust, and then put it together with all of these items and creosote and protein, as I'm sure you'll remember. Man, I can't wait to get some more liquid crafters. Oh yeah, and this new arcane spa system is so much faster than it was before. Like, we can even order like 5 buckets of this stuff. Look how fast this goes. It's like almost 1 bucket a second, every couple of seconds. Much faster than throwing the bath salts in world and letting it transform. Aha, so I've came into a little bit of an issue here with our witch's cauldron. We need quite a lot of cauldron recipes, mainly ritualistic salt, which isn't too difficult a recipe to make. However, we do also have to consider the altar power here. All of these distilleries, I believe the spinning wheel, and definitely the witch's cauldron do use altar power to complete their craft. And the issue we're having here is, even though we have this redstone writer here, to only allow the timer to activate when we are above 1000 altar power. If you let the items in the witch's cauldron sit too long, it will basically spoil, and we have no way to detect that, as there could be a situation where, let's say it throws in 3 pieces of salt, and then we are below 1000 altar power, so this timer will stop, and then it could take 20-30 seconds maybe for us to recharge the altar. Probably not that long, but some time to recharge the altar before the ritual stone and the rest of the V crystals get thrown in, and by that time the witch's cauldron is already spoiled, so So I think to solve this issue, we can use an impulse hopper instead. Of course, the impulse hopper will only allow 1 recipe per. However, at this point in the game, we actually only need 2 different recipes from the witch's cauldron. So we're just going to make a second one here. It's going to be much easier than trying to filter the one for the 2 different recipes with the impulse hopper, and also take into account the altar power. And if I remember right, this is an infusion craft, isn't it? Yeah. Oh yeah, this altar upgrade is significantly faster. Look how quickly it's pulling in the Essentia. That's awesome. Wow, thanks Thaumcraft. Oh, Thaumcraft. Oh, I'm just trying to remember how I had all these variable cards as well. It's always difficult coming back to old systems, especially integrated dynamics. But I think we'll just put the other witch's cauldron right about here. Alright, I think I got this figured out, so I duplicated the logic on the redstone writer, and I've set the impulse hoppers to only activate without a redstone signal. So effectively they only activate if we have enough altar power to complete our craft. The first impulse hopper will only handle the recipe for the ritualistic salt, which is connected to an interface with the pattern inside. In fact, we probably should take away these patterns. I don't think we'll need them at this point in the game anyway. But the second impulse hopper is set for the tallow recipe, and this is also connected to an interface back there on blocking mode. The only thing we're missing for this cauldron setup is actually another eternal water bucket, which requires a weather container of rain, and the only time it doesn't rain in this base, we need rain. Oh man, I'm always complaining about the rain here, and we need it right now and it's not raining. Well, in the meantime, we do have enough materials at least for 24 solar ingots, and more Thaumcraft. Oh, this Thaumcraft. I should never have went back there. So for the solar we need creosote and protein, which is going to give us a decent chunk of solar ingots to work with here. But yeah, we're just waiting on the more materials for this grinder. And as part of the mob grinder craft, we also need about 24, I think I counted, of these heavy duty plates. And these are the tier 3, so these are going to take hours in the compressor. However, we are also out of dash ingots, which we can make seeds for, but we do need a little bit to craft the seeds with. I think we need 4 blocks for that. So we can just quickly set up a digital miner here to pull up some of the dash ore on Mars. And the seed recipe, once we have a little bit of dash, is a very simple crafting recipe in our laser focus. I bet there is a quest for this, but yeah, we're still, like I said, we're still missing the prerequisite down here. But once we have the seeds, we just need to plant it, store it in the drawer, filter it into the crafter, and we have infinite dash ingots. And we are short 23 of these heavy duty plates. So, you know, just a casual 530 galactic ingots and a couple of 100 compressed plates. Alright, so enough crystallized mana is actually built up for us to request our ultimate crafting table here. It's really not taking too long, just maybe 30 seconds to craft this, which is amazing. Alright, so first we need 3 more elite crafting tables. This should give us the rest for the ultimate crafting table. Nice, our first tier 4 ultimate crafting table. Oh wait, give us the crafting units back. That's weird. I don't think we're supposed to have those. Yeah, I mean, it's not a big deal, but let's just delete those. I don't think we're supposed to have them. And I've started to lay out the craft for this mob grinder. All of our plates have just finished crafting here. So all we're missing for this craft actually is these cores. And we just need it to rain, basically. I suppose I'll probably go and do it by hand, though. Oh, and one other very minor change we have to make to our Witch's Cauldron setup here is before we used to have the interface plugged straight into this impulse hopper, but I found that it was actually giving the items out of order, basically in the wrong slots here, which didn't end up sending it to the output and they would all get jammed in the input slots. So to fix that issue, we've moved the interface below, buffered into a chest first, still with blocking mode, and then we have a limited item filter on the insert of the impulse hopper. And I've also rearranged the impulse hopper to correspond with the order that Applied Energistics will send the items. So it always sends in the pattern left to right, top to bottom. And that way when we request the salt, the items will be put inside the impulse hopper, sent to the output slots, and dropped into the cauldron. So yeah, hopefully no more issues with this cauldron setup. And this now completes our craft on our first ultimate crafting table recipe, the mob grinder. Awesome, so with this grinder we're going to want to farm Nether Stars, which means killing the Wither. So we'll want something to cage him in, basically. And I'm reasonably confident that reinforced obsidian is weatherproof. Doesn't say in the tooltip, but I seem to recall using it in previous packs. We do also need a source of soul sand, which we have from Nether Essence, and Wither Skeleton Skulls, which we could either use Mystical Agriculture Essence for, but this requires a blank skull, and for this we have to do Soul Dust, which comes from Soul Stone, and this is like a few different crafting recipes basically. It's either that or we just grab a soul vial, jam them inside a spawner, and I think that we can actually replace our Abyssal Knight Golem powered spawner. We used these guys to get chunks of Abyssal Knight, which was then used to get Dredium ingots. However, we have the Dredium seeds now, so let's make this Wither Skeleton instead. And we do already have beheading on this mob masher, so it should make getting skulls from this thing pretty easy. There, so we are now farming Wither Skeletons. I've kept the wisps on and also the regular skeletons, but apart from that I've turned off everything else. I don't think there's anything else we need from these powered spawners. We just have to make sure we add Wither Skeleton Skulls to our drawer network in the overworld. I guess I took away the drawer for the Wither Skeleton Skulls. I thought we had them here, but I mean I guess not. Let's add them in then. And one last thing we'll need to set this up is a Wither Builder. Okay, so I think it's going to be a sensible idea to place this in our void world. Okay, so the Wither Builder here has to go underneath, and this will place it with a 1 block gap. It will place the soul sand and also the Wither Skeleton Skulls, and the Wither should be summoned in this box. And I have set this up in the past and the Wither has escaped from here, so maybe we'll double layer this, or just give him some extra space in there. Yeah, you know what, let's make this like 3x3 at least. Alright, so just as a quick first test, we're going to manually fill this thing in, and we'll have to hook it up to our power cell, which I've also hooked up to the mob grinder. Hopefully the conduit isn't destroyed here actually. Oh, he's already been summoned. Instantly, nice. And the drops should all be inside. Yeah, we have our Nether Stars, nice. We just have to have some sort of collection system. So I think a ranged collector here would be appropriate. Right here should be in range. And we just have to filter all the items in. And conveniently, we do actually have Applied Energistics channels over here, which means that we can just run Smart Cable down. And we can put down an interface here to supply the Wither Skeleton Skulls and the Soul Sand. This P2P connection is connected straight up to our main network back in the overworld. And then we can just run some item conduit down to the Wither Builder. Although I think we will want to limit this somehow. I think this will just keep infinitely building withers. Although is that really an issue though, now that we have the mob grinder? Eventually we're going to be bottlenecked by our speed of Wither Skeleton Skulls. I guess all we really need here is a item storage system. So I've hooked up a drawer network, placed a storage bus on the drawer controller, and extracted the items from the range collector straight into the controller here. So I think when we turn this conduit on, we should end up with withers. Oh yeah, there's 2 already in there. I hope nothing gets destroyed like this. It always makes me nervous doing stuff like this. Okay, first one down. The items got put in the drawers. Nice, it looks like it's working flawlessly. Although the Nether Stars are coming out there. I think that's being sent to a rainbow generator. Okay, wait, stop. We want to make sure we have void upgrades on these drawers, and we might as well just fully upgrade them. So yeah, I think that's going to be our fairly simple Nether Star farm here. I'm not sure if we'll need this long term, again, as we will eventually get the Wither seeds, or what is it, the Nether Star seeds? Yeah, these things, but these are tier 6. And we'll have to do a bit of alchemistry before we can get these. But I think we're alright just to let this thing run. I've just done a backup here just in case. But these chunks are all claimed and chunk loaded anyway, so yeah, we should be fine with this. And for our quest here, we need 10 Nether Stars. So this unlocks our Wyvern Weaver quest, and we do already have the recipe for the Wyvern Core inside the runic altars. So let's see how long it takes for this thing to craft. I think it is around half a mana pool per Wyvern Core. Our Britannia setup should be able to handle this, easy. Oh, it's on this one? Oh yeah, look at that thing. That's awesome. Yeah, that's really quick, considering the amount of mana this thing takes. And we have our Wyvern Core. Technically the second, but first for the quest. Alright, so this opens up the next part of Draconic Evolution, which we will save for next episode. This did also unlock the next part of chapter 16, which is Mystical Agriculture. So once we pick up our infusion crystal out of this crafter, we can pop our quest, and also the Supremium quest, and the tier 5 crafting seed quest, which unlocks the rest of the quest for the tier 5 seeds. Oh, that is very strange actually. We have a terrasteel seed, but apparently it's not completing the quest. This is still 111, and usually, I mean, you craft them at 111, so I'm really not sure what's the deal with that is. We may have to craft another one. Oh well, I'll figure out what's going on with those seeds between episodes. A little bit of a slow start into Draconic Evolution, but we got a lot of the groundwork laid for later on. And hopefully it rains here soon, so I can make the eternal bucket for our witches' cauldrons over there. But yeah, that is going to do us for today. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow for some more Divine Journey 2.